Hello. Let me introduce my paper tanks collection. I've been working on this during the last 3 years. Before that, I used to make paper tanks out of printed templates that are available online. But at some point in my life I made a big move and did not have printer available at the location where I lived. But one day I went to print shop with a template of this T72. This template was combined out of two existing templates and scaled down to 1 to 150. But working on this one has convinced me to not bother with making templates and printing, and instead make everything from scratch. So the first scratch built one was this one. It is obvious that this is a purely fictional one that has no prototype in real life. There is nothing much to say except that this one and the following one were involved in a mildly interesting story that I may or may not tell later. The following one shares most of the features of the previous one, except this one is actually finished. After this one there was a long period when I made many unfinished designs. But at some point I decided to basically go back to making vehicles from real life. And my choice was one of my all-time favorites, the British Chieftain. I did not have easy time making this one, but my satisfaction with the result was immeasurable. It was a big breakthrough in terms of technologies that I was able to implement. The next one was Soviet T-62. Compared to previous one, it was not that ambitious. The main obstacle was the turret, but making this one has solidified my confidence in my ability to make basically any shape out of paper. Well, mostly paper. And then I made AMX-10 RC. It was suggested to me by a friend that I made playing Wargame Red Dragon. These little things were used extensively by France and Eurocore players. The main difference between this one and previous ones is the paint job. This time I utilized varnish and pin wash, but it turned out to be quite messy in the end. Anyway, the next one was another one of my favorites, the Russian T-90A. I knew that the excessive amount of external features will be a challenge, but at the time I was already confident enough in my skills, and basically figured out how to make every detail beforehand. And finally there is this one. It is another purely fictional one, inspired by games like Red Alert or Generals. The main point of this one was not just exercising imagination, but also a test of how quickly I can assemble one of these. Not only utilizing everything I learned so far, but also improvising as I go. And also I want to show you my unfinished designs, just to illustrate my approach. And you can see that at its core, every tank I made is basically recycled garbage. Of course there is a lot more that goes into finished vehicle, but they all begin here. And just one example, here you can see my first attempt making Chieftain. Here they are side by side. And this was a brief introduction of my work. I am planning on making many more vehicles and potentially other things. If you want to see the process of making these, you can subscribe to stay tuned. And of course, you can ask me questions in the comment section. I will try to answer to everyone as long as it is about my work. Thanks for watching.